Hello, this is Coach Tim Campbell, and I'm your host for Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show, where we're talking with successful business owners to hear their stories of the journey to building their business. And because we know that achieving success in business is not something we can do on our own, we recognize the folks that helped us to excel. Today, I'm excited to have a fellow business owner from the SaaS industry with us today. My guest used to race dirt bikes professionally. He enjoys car rallies, mountain biking, and playing poker. He's proud of the fact that he is creating jobs that are changing lives in the community. But what he is most proud of is his family. Isn't that cool? Give it up, folks, for my guest today, Devin. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm happy to hang out and spit some truth. You can't do it alone.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's start off with having you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit of your personal story, where you were born, where you live, a little bit of your family, and any hobbies.
Yeah, absolutely. So, young entrepreneur, just turned 25 here a few weeks ago. So, getting old, right? I've been an entrepreneur since I was 15. I started in sneakers. I was faced with some adversity at a young age, where I was essentially had a household at 16. But started hustling at 15 with the shoes. My sister got sick, and we needed to help support that cause and help my mom through a tough time. She got diagnosed with medulloblastoma brain cancer. It's a really rare form of brain cancer. She's still with us today. She did beat all of the odds. She's as healthy as she can be and living as normal as she can with some of the disabilities and side effects. But God is good, and she's still here with us today. So sneakers went to running a trade show when I got my license, and in that process, I learned. I say I got my MBA in business like in high school, because I learned how to network, build a website, market, build relationships. At the end of the day, I thought I was just making money, but I realized learning all these core business concepts that you really have to master all of them, to be honest with you, to grow a successful business. And then that led to graduating high school. An app came out called StockX, killed the resale market of shoes. You used to be able to make like $100, $150 per shoe. It was like $20 after the app. Basically, this app, it's still around. It's a publicly traded company. This app allows you to buy and see the real price of what you should pay for a rare sneaker. That's how big the market is. Like, a lot of people listening to this won't understand. The sneaker resale market is a multi-billion-dollar underground market.
Wow.
There's shoes that cost $1 million. There's more shoes than you could even imagine that cost 10 to 20 grand. Like, it's astronomical. Now, when that happened, more adversity, right? So meet my business partner. I'm with my girlfriend at the time, and they supported me through a journey of starting a marketing agency. And then that time, the idea of just service-based revenue, I just hated it. So we figured out a SaaS model. That SaaS model is called Kennected. Now we'll talk more business here in just a moment, but married, been with my wife since junior year of high school. I have an 8-month-year-old daughter that stole my heart right away. And I got my extended family here at Kennected, over 150 employees running around. So that's my family outside of my family.
Yes, absolutely. So professional dirt biking, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, growing up, I played a lot of sports. I was talented in baseball, football, but fell in love about 12 years old with dirt bikes. And I was awful to begin with. Actually, this is a true fact. My first race, I got airlined. I can't tell you what happened. I still, to this day, don't remember. I was in the hospital almost 3 weeks with minor bleeding and swelling of the brain. Yeah, it was crazy. So I do remember, like, a couple of days after everything, I do remember being in the hospital, but I stuck with it. I got to race what was called GNCC. So it's woods, so endurance. Like, races would be 3 to 7 hours long.
Oh, wow.
And raced a whole national circuit and got to ride for Rock River Yamaha. It was a really cool experience. But that passion trend now is in cars, and I still mountain bike. And now, don't get me wrong, I can still get on a dirt bike and impress a lot of people. But I racing pro for killing yourself pretty much for 30 grand wasn't it. I had a bigger calling.
Yes, for sure. So tell us, Devin, is there a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of them. There's one that gets brought up pretty often was as a kid, I was obsessed with like working on water heaters. I don't know what I would fix your water heater for 25 cents. So they would always I was always trying to sell my aunts and family on fixing their water heater for 25 cents. And I always had this like little tool belt with me. But that one gets brought up pretty often. Let's see here. Man, I've done so much crazy stuff. I was a wild one, ADHD, the whole 9 yards. So one really funny story was I was also obsessed with like the army stuff, like GI Joes and whatnot. And I watched the movie Saving Private Ryan. A lot of us have probably seen that movie. It's a great war movie, probably one of my favorite movies. But right after I got inspired in the scene when they were in the snow, like, camping in the trenches. So it was snowing at the time. So I go get my gear on, my little camouflage stuff, and I go build like a lean-to. And I was at my grandparents. My grandpa goes, "You do that, you're gonna get your ass beat." I said, "Okay." So I went out there, did it, and he came in. That was the worst beat I've ever got. He gave it to me. So it was lesson learned, because I did not disobey what they told me from there on out. Hey, he told me he had an upfront contract. He said, "You could go do it, but you get in here, you're gonna get it." Yeah, that one was good. He got me.
So Devin, tell us how the business came about. I know you gave us some of the backstory, but at what point did you have the confidence that you knew that you could run this business?
Yeah, so as non-egotistical as this sound, I always knew that I could run a business. Like, I've stood up at a time of need for my family at such a young age. So the confidence was always there. It was, what vehicle is it going to be? And technology ended up being the one that I resonated the best with, because with technology is sales, and sales is what I was most comfortable with, because at the end of the day, sales is just relationships, right? And so the mindset of, can I do this, was always there, or just, what is it going to be? And then the idea of Kennected struck me, and it really took off in like 2018, 2019 is when I took massive action, found a development party, which still is involved till this day, as our managing partner over in India. And, I've always been such a massive action taker, even back to my grandpa giving me the worst beating I ever had. Like, I took massive action. I watched the movie and I was building a lean-to right after. Like, I was going to be that soldier that survived the winter, right?
Yeah.
So, I've always been disciplined and blessed to take massive action, even for the wrong reasons.
So tell us a little bit more about Kennected.
Yes, so Kennected, it automates your lead generation through LinkedIn. So it can automate lead generation, recruiting, growing your brand, promoting webinars. I mean, all the above. Just think, if I'm using LinkedIn, I should use Kennected to save my time, because at the end of the day, what is the most valuable asset that we have? It's our time. It's the one thing none of us can get back. And so the solution simply automates those conversations and top of funnel conversations for you, and brings them right to your front door, and allows you to take it from there.
Fantastic. And you guys are international now, right?
Yeah. So we are worldwide. I think we're servicing just about every country at this point. So over 18,000 businesses, roughly 30,000 users or so in and out of the system. But yeah, moving up market, we've been moving up market for a year and a half. So working with mid-market to enterprise level businesses, we have an enterprise department, partnerships department, and really focusing on those mid-sized businesses with 50 or more sales reps.
Fantastic. So Devin, share us a story of where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it and the impact that that had for you.
Yeah, I told many, many times actually with Kennected that the automation wouldn't work or you wouldn't last more than a year by multiple people. Skeptics and critics all throughout the early days. And still to this day, I think someone commented some skepticism on my Instagram this morning. And it is what it is, but that is just fuel to do more and share more content in the vein and lane that I focus on, right? A little bit of like doubt is like lighting a fuse with me. I will prove you wrong in every single way.
That's awesome, man. So what's been your biggest learning as a business owner so far?
There's a few. I'm going to cover all of them because I think it's very important. Number one is leave your ego behind. You got to leave your ego behind. I'm speaking from a personal experience. I had an ego early on, before the Kennected days, making really good money for my age. 6 figures. Like I had it in a shoebox, like great, living on my own. I had multiple cars, like had everything going for me. I was the man. And I just had this chip on my shoulder for no reason when I, really shifted my mindset to be a servant leader, building a real legacy and just really trying to go out of my way to help a person however I can, whether that be a connection or a strategy or whatever it is, like do the extra and service obligates, right? So leave the ego behind. Number two, every person you meet is not a transaction, right? So the mindset behind growing a business or relationships is often misunderstood and or wrong going into the early days. You think, how can I make as much money as possible? How can it be for me? How can it be for me? And how can it be for me? When the mindset should be, how can I make the impact? And how can I bring an army around it, change their lives, and duplicate myself, my vision, and my cause, right? Now, it's a concept I talk about all the time of wolves, entrepreneurs and legacy entrepreneurs. Is nothing wrong with being a wolf. You're a lone wolf. You make a lot of money. You make a difference in your small little lane, but you don't attract a herd with you. You don't build big teams and make big impacts. And commonly they're not bad people. They think for themselves, right? And in so many scenarios, I see young business owners, entrepreneurs, just in the wrong focus points. They're thinking about themselves way too much and not thinking about the end outcome. They're not starting with the end in mind. They're starting with their pockets. They're thinking with their pockets. And that's just not the right way to start building a business. You'll get off the ground, but you'll suddenly find yourself back where you started most commonly, or chasing another opportunity because you didn't start with the end in mind.
Right. Awesome. So then, sorry, was there a third one or was that the third one?
There is another one I talk about a lot. It's the limiting beliefs inside your mind. So if you think you're only worthy of $100,000 a year or $400,000 a year or $500,000 a year, just like many animals you put inside of a cage, it won't grow bigger than the cage. You will not grow bigger than your own thoughts. So if you do not think you're worthy of $1 million, you'll never run $1 million business. You have to believe in you before you can achieve that end goal. So leaving the ego, having the end in mind and the right intentions in early meetings, early days of the business, and knowing that you're worthy of massive success. You are put on this earth to leave an impact.
Isn't that mindset so incredibly powerful? My coach has told me many times, Tim, when you believe that you're worth this much, then you'll start attracting those types of clients. And sure enough, she was right. The law of attraction is just so powerful, right?
It is. Yeah. And And that is the concept, but so many people think it's BS. I try to put that unique real world thought process behind it. And I mean, but it is, you break it down, it's law of attraction.
Yeah. So Devin, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So tell us about one of your biggest challenges during the years and a fellow business owner who came alongside you and helped you through that.
Yeah, well, I'll plug Tim Campsell in here actually. So early days of Connect, I mean, Tim was an early customer and he came along and introduced me to more and more coaches. And now here we are, we work with about every country in Action Coach, right? So just not just because this is your podcast, like you were one of those early, strong connectors and you have the right mindset of starting your practice, because I was getting off the ground and you were getting off the ground as well. I was at your opening, right?
Yeah.
Of your practice. And you were just so servant, but there's every week, there's a business owner that's helping me. There's a coach that's helping me. There's a piece of content that's helping me. But, it is because I attract it, right? I know I'm worthy of running a multi-billion-dollar organization. Therefore, I'm going to start attracting that help, introductions, and those right people in my life, right?
Absolutely.
So, but I will plug you in there again. Just genuinely, you were just awesome in the beginning days of growing our business.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Devin. So if you had to pick three people that have helped you in your business journey in terms of getting you to where you're at, who would those three people be? And more specifically, how did they help you?
Yeah, that's tough. Am I allowed to, do you want like mentors or like people in my business?
It doesn't matter, wherever your heart takes you.
Well, I've got to put my wife in here. Okay. My wife supported me throughout this journey and never changed her expectations or wants or needs in life. So I have to shout out wifey in this. And then two of my business partners. So Cody Harvey, he's a co-founder, and Brandon Poppelson, he's another co-founder. Those two are yin and yang for me. You actually know them. Yeah. Cody's a relationship guy. He taught me real relationships and real intentions, actually led me to my faith. And then Brandon, he's just an operations animal. I mean, he's the only co-founder that has a college degree too. So,
very cool. Yeah. So let's shout out your wife. What's her name again?
Sierra.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. I know, having going through my own journey, that having your wife's support is priceless. I couldn't do it without her continuing to encourage me and motivate me as we go on that roller coaster ride, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a must.
So let's think about over the next 3 to 5 years. What are some of the biggest challenges you see in achieving the goals that you want for the business? And who are the types of people that you're going to need to know to help you solve those problems?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. It's not what challenges, it's who do you bring them in to solve them, right?
Yeah.
And if no one's read that book, strongly recommend it. It's not what, it's who. So I strongly recommend looking up that book. But anyways, challenges of like new markets, a very fast growing company with a leadership that's getting trained up, right? Leadership has to keep up with the overall workforce. We've been very fortunate. We've made strategic hire after strategic hire inside of our management team. And that is solely due to the fact I recognized I cannot be in the business. I have to be on the business. So I've been on the business for over a year now, where I work and pull the strings and think vision, and I'm pulling other executives out of that as well. Almost my whole C-suite is in that visionary execution. That's how I think about it. You have to rally the jets on Monday, set the target, and then disperse, right? Attack, right? And we regroup every Monday, right? So, and working in that on. Now, some of the biggest challenges, right, is remote workforce, right? We're opening up different markets. So how do we have consistent communication and training? How does it not get diluted? How does the culture not get diluted? As we're going into massive deals, there's a good chance that, we're 10 times the size we are by the end of this year, right? So making sure the culture stays within, and that's just a strong leadership present, or, picking the right people, putting them in the place, and giving the core concepts of who we are and what we are, and making sure we lead with that, right? Again, have that mindset right, with the end outcome in mind. We talk a lot about it's not about the money, it's about the relationship here, and many other tactics and strategies that we do to keep that culture in place. But those are some of the largest challenges we see. And again, it's not what the issue is, it's who's going to solve it, and being able to have that time to work on the business and not in it.
You just mentioned the idea of it's not about the money, it's about the impact. And in some of our conversations previously, you talked about that you're so proud of the lives that you're impacting. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, from the client side to the internal side, we have people buying their first homes, we have people buying their first, really nice car, and we have investment opportunities within the organization. We have financial literacy trainings. We have mindset trainings of just how to level up as a human and think bigger and better and badder, right? There's so much internally that I am so proud to see come true with my other leaders executing on. And it all started with the idea of I control my space at all times, and we're going to have only winners inside my space, right? And radical transparency followed that core concept. And then, lead from the front, right? Be willing to, or have done the task that we're asking you to do.
Yeah.
Right. And that culture is just spread like crazy. And I know you've been to the office, like it was just like such a encouraging, winning environment, because we teach that mindset every single day here.
It's awesome. Right? And in fact, I've been to 3 of your offices. That's how fast you're growing, right?
Yeah, you have been to 3 of my offices. That's right. And there's about to be a 4th. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
We're on top of each other here. So yeah, it's crazy. But now, as far as the client side, I have people that I've saved the business from the lead coming in and the revenue coming in, and testimonials about that, to people working half in, half out, and then making enough money and finally able to run their whole business, right? Yeah. To couple millions of dollars being generated and in sales, right? Like the impact is just so encouraging to keep going, and to keep. I don't know who is listening to this that's built a business with over 150 employees, but it's expensive. Would encourage you to keep throwing money into the fire, right? So it is the outcome of what we're doing with the people, right? But it's hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s a month to keep growing this beast. Yeah. So,
well, congratulations on the growth. That's so exciting. So Jim Rohn, one of my favorite authors, he says that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So Devin, as you reflect on that, is that something that excites you or something that makes you nervous? What's your perspective there?
Oh, that's truth. That's wisdom right there. When I look at my 5 people outside of my business partners, right? Dan Martell, right? Sold his company for $1 billion. You got Sean Finnegan, built massive organization, hundreds of millions of dollars. I've got some of the craziest people and that are my top 5 has just elevated me, right? You have to expand what you think is possible, or else you will stay where you are at.
Yeah. I often hear people say that, well, I don't know that those people are going to give me their time. Have you ever had a situation where somebody you reached out to said no?
Well, of course, but then I've actually done this. They say no, I figure out an event or something they're going to go to, and I just show up. Many times. Hey, what's up? Hey, you told me, no, I'm here. Let's talk. And that has led to some of the best relationships I have, right? I still do it to this day. Like if I can't get a hold of someone, I'll figure out an event they're at or speaking at. I'll get I'm blessed to be able to like get speaking spots and stuff nowadays, but I'll just try to get on the roster, or if not, I'll just show up and go to the green room and meet with that person. Right? It is the level of consistency it takes to build your network, and the mindset of just no one's going to stop me. You just got to take massive action.
Yeah, I love it, man. So wrapping up here, if there was something catastrophic that happened to the business today, who's the first person you'd call, and what would that conversation sound like?
Yeah, so I'd call Brandon and say, "Hey, man, it was a fun run. We had a lot of money. Here's the next idea. Meet me at the office tomorrow. We're gonna start building it right now."
Oh, I love it.
So it would be a four-way call. It'd be Cody, Brandon, David, and those four. I would tie together, another idea off the shelf, create the product. It'd be a multi-million-dollar org in 30 days.
Nice. So how many of those ideas you got sitting on the shelf?
Hundreds. My mind does not stop.
I know. That's awesome. So Devin, you've been blessed with some pretty incredible people who have helped you on your journey. If they were all on the show here today, what would you want to say to them?
Yeah, it really takes an army to move mountains, and Rome was not built overnight. And it is because of you guys that we are at where we're at today and where we are going. The ability to have this clear vision only comes from the ability to trust that my team can execute the vision I set in front of them. So extremely grateful for these individuals that are supporting the run that we're on. And, if all else fails, we create another product and we do it again.
I love it, man. Well, hey, Devin, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. I appreciate your time and sharing your insights with us on the show today.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Tim.
All right. So for everyone tuning in, thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Campsell. Please be sure to help us spread this movement by liking the show and posting about it on social media. To join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. Okay, folks, that's a wrap. Make sure to pay it forward, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.